Hello, I'm Jeffrey and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk about how and why I use a tracking system in an app called Notion to build new habits. Now, I'm a firm believer in the philosophy that what you measure is what you'll end up managing. And if you want to make improvements in your life, then the best way to do that is to have clear line of sight to the actions you need to take to make those improvements. Now, I'm a pretty data-driven kind of guy, and I love looking at numbers, trying to find trends, and building graphs. So building a habit tracker that gives me the raw data to be able to do this is right up my alley. But before I dive into how I use Notion, I want to take a couple minutes to talk about what I think the benefits of using a habit tracker are and why it can help us in the process of making incremental improvements in our lives. Now, the first benefit comes from James Clear's fourth law of behavior change, which is make it satisfying. In Atomic Habits, he writes that habit trackers and other visual forms of measurement can make your habits satisfying by providing clear evidence of your progress. When you get to go in and record a check mark or write down what you completed, it gives the immediate feedback required to help reinforce the habit you're trying to create. For example, when I was trying to get healthier and reduce my weight, if all I was focused on was the number on the scale, then the feedback loop would have been measured in weeks, if not longer. This is too long of a time frame when you're trying to reinforce the behavior of exercising consistently. But when I can record how long I exercise for and see that cumulative total growing from day to day, I get a hit of satisfaction that helps to keep me repeating it in the future. The second benefit is that when you track your habits consistently, it allows you to look for trends. Sometimes we spend so much time in the weeds of our day-to-day lives that we can fail to recognize these. When one day looks very much like another, we can overlook our great success stories or fail to realize when things are going off the rails. For example, when you hit certain milestones such as 100 workouts or creating 50 videos for YouTube, those successes can provide the raw material of motivation to keep you going. Also, if you notice that weekends are when you find it harder to do your meditation, then reflecting on that gives you an opportunity to recognize it and then remove those barriers. Thirdly, tracking on a daily basis puts things into the perspective of what we can do right now, today, to help us get closer to our goals. Oftentimes the goals we have are framed in such a grandiose way and with targets that are hard for our minds to comprehend. This makes it difficult to realize how we can get from where we are to where we want to be. I mean, what does 5,000 minutes of cardio exercise a year actually look like? It's hard for us to imagine, but I can much more easily picture what 30 minutes looks like today. So putting what we want in terms of small, actionable, immediately achievable steps paves the road for us to accomplish amazing results. And last but certainly not least is a concept that I learned from one of my favorite YouTubers, Abdaal, and that's the fun factor. Now, I put a link to his channel down in the description below, which I highly recommend you check out if you haven't already. But one of the best ways to ensure that you are more productive and more likely to do something is to make that thing fun. I like taking data that is generated by me, and especially since it's about me, and then trying to turn that into actionable insights. It might seem silly, but to me, creating Excel graphs that map out how far I bike or how many pages I've read is just really fun and cool. So without further preamble, let's jump into Notion, and I'll take you through my current habit tracking system. So here's my habit entry page in Notion. And the really cool thing about Notion is if you just have a personal account, it's actually free, so there's no cost barrier to trying out this program. And it has some really cool functionality. For example, these tables that you're able to build are really cool and allow you to do some really interesting things. So this habit entry page, I'm able to just go in and create a new page for every day. So if I create one for tomorrow, I'll now have it available. I can record how far I cycled, for how long. I'm trying to get a bit more strength and exercise habits, so how many push-ups I've done, how many minutes I've spent on strength training. Also recording the days that I've managed to stay under my calorie limit for the day, and the app that I use to track my calories is MyFitnessPal. Also, my meditation habit, the app that I'm using is Waking Up by Sam Harris. Did I do my journaling for the day? How many words have I written outside of journaling? How many pages I've read, as well as I'm trying to get better at typing, so I also do some typing practice each day. Now, this is my simplified view for entering my habits. And the really cool thing about Notion too is that it has an app, so I have it on my phone. So whether I'm at my computer or really anywhere, once I complete one of these things, I can go in and check it off, record it, and then get that little hit of satisfaction of having completed something. Now, this table is also linked to my main habit tracker, which I have a little bit more functions built into. So here is where, in addition to all the columns that I had before, I also have some target columns. So for something like how far I'm cycling, I have a goal for 2021 to cycle more than 3,000 kilometers. And that works out to 8.22 kilometers per day. So this automatically populates, and then down here at the bottom you can see it sums up how far, if I want to meet that goal, I need to have cycled. And you can see that to be on track, I need to have cycled around 888 kilometers, and I'm currently at 922. So I can see that I'm on target for that goal. For something like meditation, where my annual goal is to meditate for 72 hours this year, you can see I'm falling a little bit behind. So this really gives me a good indication of where I am relative to my goals and if I need to put some more emphasis on a particular one. Now, another really cool thing that you can do with these tables from Notion is actually export them so that you can work with the data in a program like Excel. So if I just come up here, I can actually click and go export and then export it to a Excel file where I can make all my pretty and cool graphs to track and trend things. So here you can see all that same data that I just had from Notion into Excel. And now I can build different graphs to see how I'm progressing or how I'm trending based on the different days of the week. So I can see, in cycling, Thursday is my worst day, as well as it looks like I have more trouble on the weekends staying under my calorie limit. And then I can also see for trends over time. So you can see since the beginning of the year how consistently I've been cycling. Now, my work does require me to go out of town for periods of time, which is why you see those gaps. But you can see when I started trying to get a habit, how it quickly fell off, especially for this strength training, how my push-up habit has been going over time. And the really cool thing with this is I can see how things progress as I go. So I can see if something is falling perhaps a little bit on the wayside, I'm reading a lot less, but I'm also trying to do a lot more with the information that I read based on the last video that I recorded. And same thing with meditation. You can see I've done a few 20-minute sessions early in the year, but I haven't done any in quite some time. So seeing things in a graphical representation allows you to, I think, pull more insights out of it so that you can actually take action on those items. So that's a high-level overview of how I use Notion to track my habits and then extract that data so I can be more purposeful in where I put my focus. So thanks for joining for this video. I hope you found this interesting, and I'll see you all next time.